All right, it says we're live. I think we're live. We're live. I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and it's a very hot Monday morning here in Vegas.
Well,
Very hot.
it's a warm, I guess it's sort of at noon exactly. So it's not either afternoon or morning right now in,
Yeah.
in Manassas.
Either way, we are getting ready for the main keynote, the opening keynote for PegaWorld Inspire 2024. And I'm just like very happy that the air conditioning is really working well here in Vegas right now, because it's supposed to be in at least 100 degrees, going up to 110 degrees in the next couple of days. And I'm here checking it out. And yeah, looking forward to this keynote.
You and me both. Although, once again, my LinkedIn is giving me problems. I'm noticing on trying to broadcast it through my channel anyway.
It looks like it's live now on your channel.
Yeah, it's giving me that usual dump error thing.
Yeah, I got that error, but I just kept hitting live, and it says now you are live.
Yeah, mine's
good to know that we are live.
I am happy to say that at least we're live there.
So, as usual, we'll be giving our thoughts in real time as we watch, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. Alan, one thing, we're going to get whatever's on Alan's mind, which I like.
There's and there's always something on Alan's mind. That's for sure.
There's always something. Whether it's beer pong, or being averse to the metaverse, or
You think he'll bring up beer pong in the keynote?
Probably not. Especially the version of beer pong he was talking about.
Yeah, let's just say this: that was beer pong at the level not of a glass, but of a cask.
Yeah, that's like that was like a Australian rules beer pong or something.
Yeah, it's beer pong on steroids, except that literally makes no sense.
So as it says here, we're waiting for the keynote to start soon.
And it says they're very glad we're here.
So that's good. We're glad to be here.
So we can talk about other things. Did you see that? Did you see that note about Zoho? Actually, yeah, that I know this is a Pega thing, but honestly, that's a really big move for Zoho because they don't typically do that kind of strategic level of partnership.
That might be the biggest indicator of just how pervasive Microsoft Copilot is.
Yeah,
it's what you just said.
Yeah, Zoho. One of the things that for them to go up market, which they have identified finally clearly as basically the upper end of the mid market, which yes, there they can go. Absolutely, that's the place for them to go. That partnership becomes really important for the future too, because when it boils down to it, I don't know that I would say Microsoft owns the whole thing, but let's just say this: they're a dominant force in the world of at least Gen AI and AI in general, too.
Especially in the enterprise.
Yeah, and at that level too, at the upper end of the mid market, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's becoming routine. I'll tell you on a personal note, like I've noticed that I switched my search engine even on Chrome to Bing because of the integration of Copilot into Bing, right? And that's the reason I did it. I didn't do it for any other reason because I don't really. I found myself I'm not like I don't use Google search ever, but I'm finding myself using it less and less and less and less. In fact, this morning I was working on the sponsorship document for IRL 2024, the conference we are holding to celebrate the 15th anniversary of CRM Playaz on November 11th and 12th at the Atlanta Tech Village. And I didn't really want to build out a formatted like table of all the things. So I
And we
went to Copilot, gave it the data, and there it was.
Here
Boom.
we
Just
are.
like that. All right.
See what we got here. So far, nothing.
Dead silence, even the audience.
Oh, here we go.
Well, that's cool.
Bring us the hard stuff. Your customer
Hey,
challenges, your
Rams.
growing pains, your tech debt.
What?
Where
There were
others
Rams in
see
there.
impossible, we have a vision, just waiting to be unleashed. This is the right place and the right moment, because AI has drawn the line between the tech that's for everyone and the tech
I bet this
that
looks good
changes
if you're actually
everything.
in the audience.
Yeah.
They said
You
you
stream.
can't act on the individual feelings of 70 million customers.
I like the way they started.
Wells Fargo can.
Yeah.
They said you can't automate 80% of your ticketing volume. Google did. They said you can't reduce average handle time by 80%. Well, Athora has. Here, it's all possible. Welcome to PegaWorld Inspire. We've got over 100,000 square feet of innovation, more than 300 of the world's most envied brands, and 80 sessions all showing you how. How to free yourself from decades of code and launch innovation.
That was actually cool.
Yeah. Actually, the whole video is really well done.
For true competitive advantage. How to design
Always
the
makes me
ethical
jealous.
tomorrow and realize outcomes not yet imagined. 41 years of AI experience have built to this,
41.
the ultimate enterprise toolbox, and a true partner in innovation.
Is that a robot
So bring us
DJ?
your most ambitious
I
vision.
I thought it was, but it moved too quick
This
to really.
is where we unleash it.
Rams and robots.
Please
I'm good.
welcome Pega's founder and
Rams and
CEO,
DJs.
Alan Trefler.
All right, here he is. Let's. Why is it so quiet? You can barely hear the.
He doesn't age.
No.
Hello, PegaWorld. It's so exciting to be here. And I will tell you that, it's hot in Vegas, but it's going to get a lot hotter in here.
We're
Damn.
turning the air conditioning off.
We've been doing a customer event like this for 31 years. Obviously,
Well, there's people there now.
There we go. They're having bad mics on the audience.
Built for
That's what it is.
change and persistence. I do believe in that. But, it's obviously quite a bit different than 1 year ago in many ways. But the thing I'll tell you is that I have never come to one of these events with a technical agenda as powerful, as compelling, and as game-changing as you're going to see today. It's really a revolutionary moment, and I want you to know that all of us at Pega have been really gearing up the challenge, the execution, to be able to give you things that, frankly, 3 years ago I would not have thought was possible. And the way it happens is that it's such a privilege to work with you, with all of you in the audience, with these amazing brands and these folks who have environments
Wow, that's a lot
that
of
really
logos.
challenge us to make sure that with clients and partners that are dealing with the most sophisticated problems, that we're able to try to find ways to simplify them, to organize them, to make it so that you can really be in control of your business and do things in new ways without having to throw away the whole rest of the world and start over from scratch. And if I've been traveling in this post-COVID era, and it's been great to get back out there and see what customers are doing, one of the things that I'm super excited about is that a vision we've talked about for the last 5 years has really been taking hold. And you'll see it, by the way, go up another notch today. That vision is the idea of a center-out business architecture. Now, everyone talks about wanting to do a great job for their customers. or if a government for their constituency. And then they make promises, they envision, they spend money, they do all sorts of things. But when they begin to apply the technology, they apply it through channels. And when they apply it through channels, inevitably, they end up putting business rules and business processes in the channel. And all of a sudden, they're doomed. This is the birth of the legacy system. They end up having things that, oh yeah, maybe it works great in your Salesforce system, but when I want to have it work on the website, I'm going to have to change it there too. And then the mobile app, and then the contact center or the back office, or what you really want to go to is self-service. It's not conceived of and designed for true channel independence, though lots of people mouth those words. On the other hand, people have said, well, we'll just fix it all in the back ends. We'll make the back ends smarter, or we'll stick service buses or microservices in front of them, and that they'll take all that complexity that makes our businesses hard to change and difficult to even understand. We'll be able to encapsulate that in the back end, but it's not encapsulated. It's vomited all over everywhere. And the travesty is, I was going to say it's going to get worse before it gets better, but this is never going to get better. And the reason it's not going to get better is that everyone has moved to the world of the cloud, and you don't own a lot of those systems anymore. They're owned by other providers. And so the data structures and a lot of the concepts of them, it's not like you can put them in some magic data lake and have them all work. And when we were looking at this 4 or 5 years ago, and we were stuck in some of these traps too. People would say, let's go end to end. You get one of those fancy consultants in, they start drawing pictures. Oh, we're on the website, I'm going to do this, and then this, and then this. And end to end basically means you just lock all the legacy rules and processes in the front end from like the first minutes of the discussion. The reality is, we said, look, if you can't put them in the front and it doesn't work putting them in the back, where do they belong? And by process of elimination, we said, you got to put it in the center. You have to have engines in the center that are capable of making AI-driven decisions, that are capable of then initiating
Still the
workflows,
core of their platform.
use decisions and kickoff decisions.
Situational layer cake, still the core of their entire platform, their architecture, really.
We keep track of what you did and what you're doing, so you can do machine learning on it, so that you can make yourself better, and you can also make the regulators happy. This idea of center out is absolutely core to the vision of where we're going, and we hope you are joining us. The vision of the autonomous enterprise, the vision where the work.
Thank you, Jeff Nicholson. And happy birthday to Jeff Nicholson, by the way.
And the work is not locked in
to
the particular systems of record, but the work that defines your business is in fact an entity unto itself.
Is that an Anand? I forget.
An entity that lets you run without the assumption of humans and lets you run across different back-end systems and different environments. And I'll tell you, I was in Amsterdam recently, where for some reason a lot of my customers who are doing brilliant work on this are Dutch. And they showed me how they could make changes to a lending process by just changing the workflows, changing the center. And it would instantly flow across the web channel on the mobile app and the front ends. And truly an embodiment of that, also encapsulating from back-end systems. The center-out approach, this is something that is super powerful. But we've heard that as people have wanted to use Pega and wanted to apply these visions, that there were things that were difficult, that were problems for our customers. We've heard that Pega can be seen as it's a little hard to learn, hard to use, that resources can be scarce and expensive. And a year ago, I put up this slide and said, we've heard this. And we've been working on it for a long time, but with this new introduction of generative AI, we think there's a way to change this in a way that was completely inconceivable before, completely changing our minds. And what we said is, at this conference, I would report out, this is like right now, how we would have done on 3 things related to this problem. The first, how would we make it so we could put expertise at your fingertips for your engineers, so that when people were building stuff in Pega, the right stuff just appeared to them at the right time. They didn't have to go through laborious training to be able to be empowered and to do things. The second was that by using AI, how do we double developer productivity? Because we'd already seen what we could do, even though it wasn't available yet. I will tell you, some of the team got a little freaked out by the double. They kept saying, like, why couldn't you say 20%? Well, the reality is, this technology is so compelling. We have a chance to think discontinuously, to think different about how it should be applied. And one way to do that is to set the audacious goal to be able to try to profoundly change what happens. And the third is, how do we make it so we can use AI to be continuously optimizing, so we can be continually to find ways to do a better job of coaching the team who's using the system, or actually looking at the system to see things can be optimized. And I'm happy to report that the landscape looks very good today. What you will see, and you can go to the exhibition hall, or for much of this, you can actually literally use it today, are amazing advances to fulfill these goals and promises. The first is what we call Knowledge Buddy. You'll see a lot more of that today. Knowledge Buddy is a way that allowed us to take our knowledge, all of our documentation, all of our processes, bake it into a vector database and a set of LLM technology. It's very
I wonder if SAP's acquisition of WalkMe has anything to do with this kind of thinking, not necessarily this particular, but this kind of thinking.
So a customer can have their own Knowledge Buddy. That is a secure and capable way to organize your data for your purposes as well. Just this morning, we announced and made public on the website a new facility called Socrates, which recasts Pega Academy. I've always thought Pega Academy was actually very good, but Pega Academy was videos and texts and tests. This recasts it to be Socratic education. We'll walk people through.
I've done that.
How they learn, and it will test their knowledge, not by testing them with multiple choice, but by determining from their answers what they understand. And by the way, it's available in 10 languages. Some of the historic issues where for some countries it was slower to get access to some of this.
I once taught a class using a Socratic dialogue for the whole class.
And
years ago,
I think
40 years ago.
The beginning of a
I'm sorry, Sean, man. I miss you guys too. I really wanted to come, but
around developer productivity.
By the way, Sean is very happy because Celtics won last.
Which is a revolutionary.
Yeah, well, they're just dominating right now.
Their concepts, be driven through a design thinking method.
I really like this Socrates idea, by the way, because it is a recasting of how knowledge. I mean, on the one hand, the concept is, centuries and centuries and centuries, millennia old. On the other hand, recasting education around it in using some sort of
absolutely mind-blowing.
AI, using AI is a phenomenally good idea.
Which is the application of generative AI
really do
in any system.
Last 18 months or so.
To be able to look at cases.
You go from multiple choice to ask a question and letting that person
and figure out
answer in the actual language
as to what to do next.
Trying to figure out
to tell people what's really going on at a very
and the other thing it does really well, if it's a Socratic dialogue, is
opportunities for improvement.
You got to find out
process AI to be able to bring
thank you, whoever that. Thank you, LinkedIn. Thanks, LinkedIn.
So you can the system figure out if you're going to miss a service.
I've got to say, I mean, I'm really enamored of Socrates right now. That's a great idea.
Just don't drink the hemlock.
What I'll tell you is that digital transformation is there today in Pega Infinity. 24.
By the way, I got a really
But
good
AI
understanding of
is at
Blueprint
the heart
because the last
of
night
what we're
you
doing with
walked me
Infinity.
through it is really interesting.
AI is
Sure, he's
really
been talking about
powering this whole new transmutation. But there's so much confusion about AI. There's so much hype. There's so much nonsense. There's a bubble, frankly.
that was
There's a
Elena,
lot of
by the
real
way,
stuff
that
too.
said that.
So I think the
Who did?
challenge is how do you
Elena.
think about this in a way that you
Thank
can
you,
cut through
Elena.
the noise and really decide what you can consume and who you can consume it from.
It's weird not to be there, really.
That there are ways of doing it that we think are wrong. Some people want to apply AI by just generating more code.
See, the thing with these
Candidly,
guys, which I
That's not the way to
really
build for change.
appreciate,
Don't get me wrong.
is
you can use it to build code at times.
this is
but
ultimately, you know how I've always maintained that
It
the
has the
thing that they
structure
do
you need.
probably better than anybody
you need
is
your AI.
they understand the
drill
corporate
into
narrative
the
in a way
three
that nobody else
fundamental
does
parts
really
of AI
effectively,
that empower
which is
business as a
that
whole. The first
you
is
have to be
decision.
able to show to your
That
customers
ability
why
to
you're
do
becoming what you're
statistical
becoming,
and numerical
right? And why you
analysis
became what you
based
became,
on
and then
data.
why you're becoming what you're
You see
becoming, and why
a
you became what
picture
you became.
here of
And if you look at the
our
endpoint
next best
here with
action
Blueprint and
designer,
everything else,
to be able to do a next best
it's
action throughout the top
it's
to make a
autonomy, right?
statistical
Autonomous
recommendation.
decisioning,
Super important. We've
and
done this for a long time. This has been a core skill
that
long before
is
GenAI came out.
they set the tone or
Now, when
set the
GenAI came out,
planted
it
the seed for
provided some
that.
additional
What, 7
capabilities.
years ago, 6, 7
And
years
we
ago?
kind of classify
So
those
that
in
it's not a
two
foreign
areas.
concept
First,
that's going to
there are
scare
AI
customers,
productivity
and
tools.
instead the customers see it as a
What do I
natural
mean by that?
evolution of
Well, for
Pega's
Pega,
work
we have productivity
platform
tools, for instance, that do
and
summarization.
application.
Look at a case and tell you what's going on.
I love that.
Or productivity tools that you might use.
Alan,
for
you'd like
answer
this
questions as part of a knowledge buddy.
corporate narrative.
Or productivity tools to be able to coach you, like I was talking about. These are very important.
I think what they're
And
doing,
we've got several dozen. You'll
not
see
just
them out
saying
there in the
Gemini
innovation
goes
hall and on
everywhere,
our
but
website. And
there's other
frankly,
AIs that
you're
work
probably building
AI. You
dozens
got
of them
to figure out
internally
the
for
best way to
various
utilize
projects,
them
and
to
you'll
get what you
get
want.
some of them from other vendors.
Opposed to just,
We think this
oh, yeah, it's
represents
great for
something that
writing code,
everybody is going to do and
but
is going to select from
you got to
different
have some
choices.
things around it before you just
But
throw
the
it at
third
that.
way
And I think that's
is
what
something that I think only Pega can provide and offers a whole new opportunity, a whole new way to think of transformation. Because we already have Blueprint being used by customers to rethink systems that they otherwise would not have been willing or able to tackle, to make them modern, to make them cloud ready, to make them state of the art, to make them understandable. And Blueprint, as an engine for transformation, both where it is today, plus where it's going, I think is going to revolutionize what our customers who are bought into this vision are able to do. Because Blueprint is an engine running on Pega.com. It actually runs on Infinity. But we put it onto Pega.com so everybody could use it. You don't have to install it onto your Pega system to use it. You don't have to do anything fancy.
I actually played with it a little bit, finally.
We've had over 30,000.
I mean, I can't pretend that I fully get it in terms of being able to use it. I get the idea, just in terms of its use, but it's pretty cool what I was able to play with.
Blueprint allows you to take advantage of Pega's best practices. Our understanding of the structure of work, our understanding of work is best thought of as cases and stages and steps and personas, all of that work that sits inside the way Pega envisions work and work automation, that's all built into Blueprint, using GenAI technology, by the way. We also have allowed our partners to create their own templates in Blueprint that we've uploaded on Pega.com Blueprint just for them. So the partners can put in things that are special to them, that make them distinguished when they go talk to a client. And what I find amazing is in just the 5 weeks since this has been possible, we've had a dozen partners put in over 60 of these Blueprint templates.
Wow.
With amazing stuff. We're not allowed to look at them, by the way. I can see what the content is, but I can read the names. the name of the partner and the name of the blueprint. And there is a lot of intellectual property our partners have that they've decided to make accessible through this vehicle. And in addition to this, we go out to the World Wide Web and we ask, if you want to know what the best practice is for a retail market collections application for a particular industry, we'll go ask the web, what are the best practices for this? And it is amazing what's on the web. The quality of what comes back is mind-blowing. And then we're making it so that if one of our customers has a knowledge buddy,
Well, Alan, yeah, you actually have, there is a point. I mean, best practices are context sensitive, meaning, and age sensitive too, meaning a best practice of 5 years ago isn't a best practice of now, but of course, become a best practice takes a while, right? Meaning you have to have some continual proof points that it works effectively in whatever situation it's supposed to work in.
Of people standing around in a
so to your point, it is a bit of a, I don't know what Alan means specifically. There will always be best practices for an era of some kind, you know, but they can be discarded, changed, or entirely new as the times and work calls for it. And so it's tricky. It's not that it's dated per se, but it's just tricky on what that actually means now, because people still use it in the context of what we talked about 10, 12 years ago. And it isn't the same. Or at least the best practices aren't the ones that were good back then.
Parts of getting to a center-out architecture and the hard parts of
really more dynamic,
revolutionizing and transforming, we've been able to
which
use
goes against the idea to some degree
in a safe way to empower the very transformational thinking of our customers, which is good because what we see is they need it bad. You know, this is a copy of a system diagram, slightly obscured from one of our actual clients. And I'll tell you, the level and types of systems that are out there, as you all know, are dragging you down.
Is that an artistic rendering of a systems diagram?
To go after them and replace
because that is a very strange looking one.
Packages you bring in, just one compromise after another.
I think
what Pega is doing with Blueprint and with some of the add-ons that we're putting on in the coming months is letting you rise from the ashes.
Nice.
Wow.
Systems. Let you really think about revitalizing your estate, really doing broad transformation by making it.
You guarantee that was AI generated image. Guarantee. Even has the color scheme that you see in 90% of the AI.
That have been design thinking.
Yeah. Well, again, best practices are proven over time. Transformation is what occurs in that point of evolution to a new time, right? So it's totally, they're barely related concepts.
What I like about this is they're actually using Gen AI to reinforce some of their main foundational
which ultimately
the layer
cake, need to do to prosper,
the autonomous enterprise,
let me know what you think of what you see.
The workflow automation. They're not talking about, hey, we got Gen AI, just Gen AI. They're actually talking about it and how it actually reinforces and moves further.
Please welcome your hosts, Steph Lewis and Matt Nolan.
We know Matt. I don't know Steph Lewis, though. See, I look, again, to me, the power of Pega's, the thing that got them to $1 billion has been their consistency.
They love us already.
I mean, they are genuinely, their organization is consistent with its own growth and evolution.
Welcome to PegaWorld.
Oh, by the way, Joe Richardson gave me a hug
in Grand Garden Arena today. From over 50 countries.
I'll collect it next time I see
Welcome
you.
to the 10,000 people that are streaming this online.
Thank you, Joe.
I think
hug back. Brent, give her a hug back for me.
Psyched to be in this AI transformation, as he said. And my name is Matt Nolan. My pronouns are he, him.
And my name is Steph Lewis. My pronouns are she, her. And together, Matt and I get to be your co-hosts throughout this entire
Is that you,
incredible
us?
Now, being a co-host is by far the best job at this event. Don't let anybody tell you different. What we get to do is we get to guide you through the keynotes. We're going to hear from you're going to hear from Pega leaders and from our clients. We get to guide you through the breakouts that are going to happen over in the conference center a little bit later. And we also get to guide you through the Innovation Hub, where, how many demos do we have? 200 product demos from both Pega and from our sponsors. And later tonight, in this same place, we're going to have a great concert from the Black Pumas.
Those things sound so dopey when they're scripted, right?
Yeah.
200.
They love us.
Have you?
I know,
This is
it's gonna
great.
be amazing. But I do have to say, Matt, it's already been an incredible journey to get here today because I've gotten the chance to get to know you, which is, who wouldn't want to get to know you?
I mean, who wouldn't want to get to me? I totally agree with that.
All right. So Matt and I both worked at Pega for a long time, but never really had the chance to work together. So
You get a chance now, though. It's the best
So
part.
I would love the opportunity to introduce you.
You want to introduce me to them?
I do.
All right. Okay. Just remember, I have
Gee,
a
I
wife
wonder
and
if that's
daughter that are
planned.
watching. They embarrass easily, so just be kind. That's all I ask.
Always, always. So Matt's day job and his passion is heading up product marketing for the Customer Decision Hub.
Truth.
But his true passion is taking care of his more than 36 farm animals back on his farm in Massachusetts, including
my
his
kind of guy.
infamous parrot, Walter, who speaks more than 50 words and joins Matt on pretty much all of his Zoom calls.
You know, you put a 27-foot picture of a Quaker parrot up there in triplicate. Right?
Quaker
His
parrot.
ego is going to be explosively large. He's screaming this. Now,
What's weird is that's
do you mind
true.
if I intro you,
Please.
folks?
Parrots love
Steph
see
here,
themselves.
besides being an incredibly kind and generous person, which I've gotten to know over the last couple of years, she's the head of digital customer success at Pega. She's actually been here for 13 years, which is fantastic in any industry, especially technology. Right?
That's a Zoho
You know,
baby.
What you probably don't know is in her spare time, she's a salsa dancing instructor, which I think is absolutely amazing because I have no aptitude for that whatsoever in my life. And also, she's originally from the great state of Minnesota.
You betcha.
There you go.
Yes, yes. It's such a beautiful place
Well,
to
there's
be
one
from.
good
Glad
thing
to
about
see
The
people
Minnesota,
there.
you can take the girl
What?
out of Minnesota, but you can't take the Minnesota.
There's at least
So,
one good thing
Alan
about
touched on
Minnesota.
Blueprint. It's an incredible tool where you can literally
Actually, it is a
blueprint
pretty nice
customer
state.
experiences and your business process. So Matt and I thought,
You know, when they're just kind of
hosted before
talking, they're good, but when they're doing the
on
scripted
our
stuff,
duties, then
that's so silly.
I'm excited. All right. So step number one, Steph.
But they're just comfortable like this,
We kind of got
even
that.
though it's semi-scripted.
meet
It's
Walter.
fine.
Walter, check. Okay, we got that one. Step number two, we're supposed to make a clever callback to Alan's keynote. I know we talked about it, but were we clever at all?
I mean, a 90-foot blueprint, does that count?
Okay, the giant blueprint wins the day. Agreed. All right, so step number three, and this is my absolute favorite one. We're supposed to get everybody here, including the press, pumped up.
Matt, you were born pumped.
I was born pumped up, but are you folks excited to be at PegaWorld?
Oh!
Yeah,
Come on, give me a little something more. Oh,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, but the camera just blew out.
That was
The
awesome.
cameras are, I mean, not the camera,
This one
the
feels
mics are
important. We're
set
supposed
wrong.
to thank our sponsors.
And this is so important because our sponsors are critical not only to this event, but every single day across the entire ecosystem. They help many of you create that true transformational change. So thank you to every sponsor that makes this event possible and every day possible for all of you.
Who were the big ones? EY and Infosys.
Now, you will be able to see those sponsors, you'll be able to meet their people, touch their technology, look at their demos over in the Innovation Hub at 11 a.m. today. But stay tuned because we've got a lot for you. All right, so step number 5. So we have to set the stage for our amazing keynote speaker that's coming up next. Think we can handle that?
Yes, we have an incredible conversation coming up. So yes, great. They're already on that. So check.
All right. And step number 6 on our world famous blueprint, this one's a little bit different. One of us actually has to leave the stage to make way for that keynote speaker. And I know that you have a special place in your heart for the VA. So how about I take off and you can have a great conversation.
Thank you, Matt. I
right,
appreciate that. So I'm incredibly proud of all of the work that we do with our clients, who are some of the largest and most admired brands in the world. But as Matt mentioned, I have a special place in my heart for the VA because I have 3 grandparents who served. In particular, I want to call out one of my heroes, my grandmother Mary. She served in World War II with an incredible group of women who taught the men how to fly the fighter jets.
Wow.
Wow. That's amazing. There they are on the right.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's
But we
amazing.
really got to experience the impact of the VA after they served. They found unique ways to honor each of my grandparents, and they provided a true holistic version of care when we faced illness. So I'm super honored today to talk to the Veteran Family Member Program. That's the team that is responsible for providing that holistic version of care. So please join me in welcoming to the stage the Supervisory Program and Management Analyst from the Veteran Family Member Program, Katrina Fluss.
Very nice way to bring somebody.
I was just thinking the exact same thing. She was obviously very moved by the whole thing just when she was talking. I know. It's amazing what her grandmother did.
Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
It's amazing even having a man do that, much less a group of women in World War II.
Thank you for the care. So speaking of the Veteran
They didn't
Family
have the
Member Program,
opportunities.
can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, so the Veteran Family Member Program is a conglomerate of 5 federally mandated programs that provide services to the families of veterans. It includes CHAMP VA, CWBV, Camp Lejeune, Spina Bifida, and FMP.
That's a lot of acronyms. Can you break those down a little bit?
Absolutely, I'll help you with all that alphabet soup. So CHAMP VA is our civilian health and medical program. CWVB is the Children of Women Vietnam Veterans. We have Camp Lejeune, Spina Bifida, and FMP is our federal foreign medical program.
A lot of impact. That's amazing. What is your role?
Wow.
My role within the VA is I work for our program management office for VFMP, and it is my job to help manage our data analytics, dashboards. I also do project coordination, helping the business partner with IT to make successful projects, and I also do outreach, which is why I get to be here today with everyone.
So huge scope of programs and huge scope of role. How did you get to where you are today?
So true story, in college, I wanted to be a park ranger more than anything. And I was a student contractor with the Park Service.
Wow.
But it's really hard to get in with the Park Service. And so my supervisor at the time said, well, now that you're graduated, I had to leave my contracting position. She said, get into the federal government anywhere, just get in. And then you can come back over. It'll be a little bit easier. So I was like, okay, cool. So I applied everywhere. And the VA took me in. But when I got here, it was just such a powerful mission, and it's such a cool thing to do every day.
Yeah.
We come in and we impact people's lives, we make people's lives better. And so they just got me, they got their hooks in me. I joined as a voucher examiner, I was a lead, I was a supervisor, I went into program analytics, I worked for our eligibility and claims processing department, and now I'm in the program management office and just love it.
I can see why you love it. It got a huge impact. But I also know that you deal with a lot of complexities, not only due to the programs, but with all of the technology that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people can relate to the struggle of having old technology. You know, a lot of
Well,
what we still do.
Steph there, she's a very good communicator.
Insane. We also have a ton of fax issues. You know, we receive faxes and we still have to print them rather than maintaining that digital platform. It's crazy. And so we just, everything's really manual, it's hands-on, and so we create this.
They always bring good customers though. They do really well with their customers. They also get customers who know how to speak to the people.
And then they're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then
Every time, man. Again, best customers I ever saw. I'm not going to reiterate or watch this show with Alan Pre if you want to hear me talk about it again. But people like this who are just wonderful.
So one of the first places we looked to leverage the technology when we were trying to modernize is our eligibility department, because that's step one. We got to get people in the doors before we can get them any kind of care. And so with our eligibility department, as I said, we're dealing with a lot of paper that's coming in. It's still manual. Somebody has to sort it and go through it. And one of our biggest hurdles, one of our greatest frustrations was that documentation that comes in for eligibility. One of those documents is called an OHI cert, which is an other health insurance certification. And it lets us know if there's another payer involved, and that helps us with claims adjudication. Normally, when you're trying to get in the door for eligibility, you're not interested in the claims payment part yet. You're just trying to get those benefits for your family. And so a lot of times people aren't thinking about that complexity, but we are. because the sooner we have that information in our system, the sooner we can start getting payments out to the families. And so it was a really painful manual process to get that OHI cert once we were done with eligibility across the wall over to our claims department where the OHI team could be able to do their role. And we couldn't send out the notification to the team until that was done, right? And there was no correct, direct connection. It was insane. There's just this process where we have a report that runs, and then the OHI team would have to go on this kind of hunt and destroy hunt to try and find, who's the new Benny and where's their OHI cert and get it in the system so that we could then send out that welcome packet. And so we started leveraging the tools to get us to the point where we could make those two teams connected. They could get to each other quickly. And so now when our eligibility department finishes up an application packet and they set complete on that document, it goes directly to my OHI team and they can get right to work, which means we're getting that packet out in days rather than weeks.
So really benefits the employees as well as the end recipients.
Exactly. Yep. It helps everyone.
Yep. But that's just one workflow. I imagine you have a lot more. So how are you approaching reuse in a backbone?
Yeah, exactly. So it's not just eligibility, it's claims processing, it's, records management. It's also the appeals department. We have duty to assess. So there's all these different teams that are trying to be effective, trying to communicate, trying to get information. So we're using that same process that we developed for eligibility and OHI to connect everybody, but we're also able to connect all these other pieces into the puzzle. So we have digital upload, which allows our teams to upload documents directly to each other. So if I receive something, our call center often gets emails, instead of having to print that email and carry it down to the mail room to get it sorted and scanned, they can just send it directly into Pega to who needs to have it to make that determination. And that's a huge impact for not just our beneficiaries, which is nice, but it's also a huge impact for our employees, because our employees, like me, my team's small, we're very small, we joke we're the mom and pop shop, and they care a lot. And so having these tools that allows them to be more effective is really empowering for them. We also have been able to work towards getting our faxes to where they stay digital instead of having to print them, and we can just load them directly to who needs to have them instead of having somebody else touch them. And we're looking forward to an opportunity where having all of these pieces connected gives us more transparency for the beneficiary.
And one of the things that I took away as well is you're streamlining it, but not getting rid of all the inputs because you're dealing with a multi-generational base. So you can't just get rid of all that technology.
No, some people love their faxes.
Wisdom do you have post-implementation?
Success that we've been having with this effort has been that our IT department is really now out of their silo and working with the business. We're really a collaborative partnership now, where the business is in the room talking to our development team. We're having a lot of back and forth. And so early on, we're identifying places where maybe our developers had a different idea than my business team, and we can collaborate and look at it and build together. And so every step of the way, they're tweaking it and getting us where we want to be, which is really nice, because historically, I've had the experience where IT.
They're doing a good job with the production on side of this too.
I need a tool that does this.
Yeah, I like those little ID balloons, those little ID circles that pop up and go away.
I need it to do this.
Also,
and I need this over here, and they'd be like, "Well,
way better.
kind of done, but we can make it be."
Now they're cutting people's heads off and all that stuff.
So it's always been really frustrating, and we're really proud of the way we have changed that process within the BI.
Really well done.
So collaboration, in the end, saving time and money.
Absolutely.
So that's awesome. Okay. So what else have you achieved with the modernization efforts?
With that change, we've also really been able to see across the board that increased efficiency we've talked about. We've been reducing backlogs. We've been reducing the paperwork employees have to handle. Like I talked about, when we print a fax, an application packet's
much better done.
5 to 15, maybe
Way
20
better
pages.
done.
And each of those pages has to be identified. You have to print a barcode.
Also, the quality is good too. Just the straight out
very intense process.
resolution.
We're working towards a future where they don't have to get their hands on it, and we can streamline that process. And these are our first steps in that direction, where things are digitized and it's so much better. And so it's improving the experience for our employees, which is increasing that performance for our beneficiaries. And we have 700,000 beneficiaries within our program, and we're growing. We have a future where we see a lot more growth since the passing of the 2022 PAC Act, which made disability access larger for the veterans. And So yeah, we've got a lot to work towards.
So it's extremely important that all of these back-end processes and streamlining impacts who you serve. So how else are you seeing
See,
that
that's one
happen?
thing that another thing
one of
Pega is
our
good at
greatest
is that
pain points is
they're
that
very
foreign
good at
medical
identifying,
that process
and
I
this
talked
is
about
just
where we
due
have
to
to go through
history,
and sort
but
all the
they're
documents
very
and
good
all
at
that.
identifying
Like 3 times.
the
Because we
technical
receive things, we
requirements to
email them,
make
we send faxes,
engagement
we
and
have websites, we
experience
support them,
good.
and then when we scan
I
them,
guess is the
we can
best way
only
to.
send them to the translator.
They understand
Get
the
one click.
impact
And then the translators send it back, and we get to
that
print that
not just the use
and go
cases
through
are
that whole
built on the
process again,
platform, but the
and
actual
then get
platform
it into
itself
our
will
different
have
workflow. And so we
ultimately
end up having to
on
touch
a
the document 2, sometimes 3
because of
times,
its impact
because if
on
it
the
comes to the eligibility
processes
department,
and the
then we have to do it again to
rules
get it
engines and
overlaid.
so on. It'll have
So we can end up touching the same
the impact
document
it'll
3
have on the
times. You have
customer's
different people
experience
involved
and the
before it
kind of
actually gets to
engagement
the
that they
person
have, and they're
making
really
the
good at
decision. And so it takes
tweaking that
so
message.
long, just time consuming. And so it's really hard to get those payments out
And this is
timely,
a
to get
perfect case
information
study for
timely.
exactly
And so
that.
we've worked to build a process where a document can come in, it can stay electronic, and go to our translators, it can come back to us, it can go to eligibility, and then it can go to claims without ever having to be pressed once, which is really nice because I really care about the rainforest as a ranger.
Yeah, let's save the rainforest. That will help. Awesome. So you've achieved a lot, but what's next?
Yeah, so I'm really excited about what's next, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share it with everyone. We're really proud of the work we've been doing in the VA. We are partnering with va.gov to create an online portal where people can apply through the portal online. They can go directly there. They can upload all the documentation we need with that packet, and that's going to be up by the end of this calendar year. We're so excited. And then we also have online claims submission coming online, and record management and appeals submissions. All of that will be managed through va.gov so that our partners, to your point about multi-generational experiences, some people really love to send us faxes. Some people are very comfortable with mail. Other people, like me, have young children and we're a different generation and we want to have that access. And so a lot of our beneficiaries—
I literally don't remember. It's that long.
Online and just submit
I think it was the one I was built into my printer.
To them very
right.
soon, and we
That's
are so excited. Yeah,
That's
Can't even
awesome.
remember.
Yes.
it's huge. We are so
huge.
stoked.
All right. Amazing. But there's more. So you're going to be sharing more this afternoon in a breakout, right?
Yeah.
All right. Like at 11:30?
Yeah, not even this afternoon.
Okay.
I have to run
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. All right. Well, you better get to that. So, all right. So definitely go check out
It was very
Katrina
well done.
at
This
11:30 over in the breakouts.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing
Thank you,
today.
Steph.
Great.
It's been wonderful.
And a nice hug at the end. I know you.
Proper signature.
So that conversation right there, I've gotten to know Katrina a little bit over the last couple of days, and she's so connected.
Matt's
to
a
what they
nice
do in the
guy.
VA. Like you can
He really
feel
is.
it. She just knows her
I
stuff.
met
She's
him
really awesome.
multiple times over the years.
It was incredible to get to know her, and I will forever be grateful for the impact that the VA had on my family and so many other families out there. But I know, yes, thank you. Absolutely. But I know that they aren't the only organization that puts people at the center of everything that they do. In fact, there are over 300 organizations here today that do exactly that.
Nonprofits.
And when she talks about those 300 organizations, what she's talking about is a lot of you folks, right? And one really great example from that pool is T-Mobile. So T-Mobile talks consistently about putting the customer at the center of absolutely everything they do. And they're 100% committed to making conversations relevant and compelling for the people that they serve. So we're very, very fortunate that they've agreed to come up on stage today and share their story. So please join me in welcoming to the stage T-Mobile's Vice President of AI and Data, Jeff France.
Knuckles.
I guess he could just bump it.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for the intro. Thank you for being here today. As you heard, my name is Jeff France, and I am the Vice President of Data and AI at T-Mobile. I wanted to pack more buzzwords into my title, but T-Mobile limited me to 2. So data and AI made the cut. I have a really interesting role at T-Mobile. I get to understand all the different data assets that we have at the organization. As you can imagine, T-Mobile is a very large place. I sort of feel like I'm data spelunking any given day. You see me walking through the halls of T-Mobile. I got my miner's hat and my light on, and show me the data. Where's the data? But that's just one part of my role. The other part of my role is understanding the value of that data. Are we maximizing the value of it? Are we leveraging it in ways to service our customers better and to push our organization forward? Now, a little bit about T-Mobile, just in case you've been living under a rock. We are one of the largest communication companies on the planet. We offer messaging, voice, and data services to millions of consumers across the US. Now, since the inception in 1994, originally as VoiceStream Wireless, we've been on an incredible journey, an incredible transformation. We've seen a lot of growth in that time. We've had our fair share of mergers and acquisitions. For example, Metro PCS, who can forget Sprint? That was a pretty big one. And then most recently with Mint Mobile. Thanks, Ryan Reynolds. Now, all of these changes have shaped.
Made Ryan Reynolds even richer.
It's had a massive impact on our culture. Think about all these different organizations coming together under the T-Mobile brand. They all had their unique cultures, their unique way of doing things. And bringing all of that together under T-Mobile, that's a massive undertaking. Think about IT systems. Maybe not the sexy thing to talk about, but all of them had their own IT systems, their own way of managing and leveraging data. How do we bring all of that together, all these disparate systems, so that we can operate as one company? That's a huge undertaking, and it's a journey that we're on and we'll continue to be on. Clearly, T-Mobile is very acquisitive, so we'll continue to go through this journey and this transformation. But in this journey, it's seen us go from lagging to a challenger brand, and now ultimately a leader in our industry. I want to talk to you a little bit about that journey. Let's start with where we were. And I was honestly shocked when it was approved that I could put this slide up here and tout the fact that we were the fastest declining wireless company in 2012. And I'm pretty sure JD Power didn't hand us any award for this accolade, but if they had one, we would have won it. But we were notoriously bad. We weren't just bad, we were heading in the wrong direction faster than anyone. We were losing 2 million customers a year.
Damn.
Roughly 10% of our base. But all was not lost. We had a goal in mind, and we had a plan. We were developing a plan to get there. But our goal is to become the best in class. But we didn't want to stop there. We wanted to become world-class. We wanted to become a world-class brand that was mentioned along brands like Nike and Apple. How are we going to do this? It wasn't going to be easy, given our position, and frankly, the industry we were in, the wireless industry, not necessarily known for being customer-centric back then. We had to gain back the trust.
That's what I was about to say.
More
you mean now?
We had to find new ways to engage them. We launched something called T-Mobile Tuesdays in 2016, a perk for being a T-Mobile customer. What we were ultimately trying to do is show customer love.
You know what the problem is? You just said we launched
in the corporate world.
T-Mobile Tuesdays, a perk for the customer. What's the perk?
Something we live by.
That on Tuesday you get to call it T-Mobile Tuesday? I mean,
our plan.
What did he give us an extra day of the week? We only had 6 at that point, but if you were a T-Mobile customer, you had 7. I mean, that was like a really
more customer centric.
Doesn't mean anything. That was literally a meaningless comment.
Consumer experience. It helped us show customer love. And ultimately, we were on a journey to become the Uncarrier. I'm sure all of you have heard Uncarrier before. It's been part of our brand for about over a decade. That's one thing to have a nice catchphrase, Uncarrier, but we actually live that. And it's putting the customer at the heart of everything that we do. And it wasn't just a passing fad or a rallying cry and something we put up on a banner or a marketing campaign. We still practice this today. If you walk the halls of T-Mobile, you'll hear people talk. How can we be more Uncarrier? We're going to do something. Is that Uncarrier enough?
Wow.
So we think about this all the time. So how has this been working out for us as an organization? Well, as of Q1, we have 121 million customers across the US. It's been working pretty well. But we're still changing. We're still evolving as an organization.
This is so generically
T-Mobile has changed.
high level that it's telling me
We'll
nothing.
never reach our destination because we keep pushing it out even further.
Yeah.
This is
How do we
literally,
start?
I mean, I hate to
Where do
say
we
it because he
begin?
seems like a perfectly all right guy,
For
but
starters,
this is a useless
shut up.
conversation.
That's right.
Well, it could have
Shut
been a
up.
little bit more
Stop
dramatized,
talking.
more
We
visuals.
started listening.
Well,
to our
just tell a
customers.
story or two,
We
man.
wanted
All
to
he's
be
doing
a
is,
carrier.
and he hasn't said
You know
anything.
that
Why did,
across the
what's it
country,
got to do with Pega?
talking to all of our customers. Well, not all of them, but all types of
And I
customers.
can't imagine he has that much more time. I hope not.
He also met with our frontline employees that service those customers. The entire goal was to identify what are the pain points to quality customer care,
It's just so dramatically
and how
different
do we remove those barriers
conversation that we just
so that we
had.
can better
Really
service our
interesting.
customers.
Yeah, well, that was like a
World-class.
conversation about something going on in real life that impacts people. This is a generic.
It was the start of our journey to bring.
He said he was
T-Mobile
only allowed to have two
customers.
buzzwords in his title, but he seems to be allowed to have
This is
all
how
of
we
them in his,
started showing customer
his
love.
speech.
We wanted to anticipate our customers' needs.
And I think they got
better
a good story to
and
tell.
faster.
'Cause
We
They,
wanted their experiences to
I don't
be
know. I use
personalized
Verizon.
and more consistent.
well, I mean, I use AT&T, but it seems like
And again, because we're T-Mobile,
I remember
we had to
years
do this at
ago,
scale.
a few years ago,
Pega was a big
their
reason why we
CEO
could
was
scale this
somebody
across the
who
organization.
was kind of
But again, it's a journey.
a really
We're
different
not
kind of
done.
personality, and
We're
it
still
was
leveraging data in new and creative
like
ways.
they were doing interesting things.
Well, they had
We're
interesting
integrating
commercials, and they were
systems like
they were
Pega
making all
that can
these.
leverage that data.
At least the format of their raids on other telcos was interesting.
Now,
The way
where
they
are we
went
today?
after them. We'll give you this if you do this.
I think the only reason T-Mobile
But this guy,
is because this was the next one.
Okay, let's see.
Now we're the fastest growing carrier. We're the world's most valuable telco.
yeah, but if you're minus 2 million,
Pretty
growing to
incredible. It's
3
really
makes
work.
you fast. Positive
And I
3
said this
makes
is a
you
journey.
probably the world's fastest growing
We're not
carrier.
stopping at 121 million. We have aspirations to push beyond that.
No, I
We're
mean,
continuing to
at
learn
121
what's
million,
working,
that's
what's
pretty
not.
big.
We're evolving.
It's big.
We continue
But
to adapt and ultimately change.
I'm going to ask Copilot how many
We
customers
continue to
Verizon
find
and
new
AT&T
ways to
have.
unlock the value of our data,
Right there.
whether it's breaking down silos that existed from legacy systems or companies that we've acquired,
Most valuable. That must mean their market cap is
or
higher.
reducing customer
I
churn.
don't know.
AT&T and
Here's a fun fact.
guys.
Last
Well,
year,
right, but
we lost fewer
Verizon.
customers than at any other point in our company's history. That's huge, given where we were in 2012. But
that's
we
good.
still lost customers.
Yeah.
We still failed customers in some way, so we can improve. We want to focus on our channels. We have so many different touch points with our customers. We have retail, we have call centers, we have social, app, all the digital channels. The list goes on. The experience in those
They have a
channels is
$200
good,
billion market cap.
but we know it can be better.
211.
We will get better. We continue to improve.
Let's see what Verizon.
Upselling is another focus. I'll call it relevant upselling. We don't want to just sell you something for the sake of selling it. We want to sell you something that you need, something that's relevant. based on
Verizon
your
is only
journey
172
as a
billion,
T-Mobile
so
customer.
they're way bigger in terms of
Now that could be you have a kid
AT&T.
that's ready for their first cell phone. How do we know that? How do we present that offer at the right time?
AT&T is only 129, so they are
For me,
substantially bigger
I have
than
4 kids.
their competitors in
My oldest is
terms of
11.
market cap.
My
So
youngest is 4.
yeah.
and I've
So
got-
AT&T has 241
I'm
million
not giving any of
customers,
my kids
and
a phone.
Verizon has 144.8 million. So
About
they're
none
not
of my
much bigger
friends,
than,
including
much
my
smaller than
kids.
Verizon. They're considerably smaller than AT&T, though.
I wasn't expecting
Yeah,
applause
but
at that
their
point, but
market cap is
I'm glad
way
that
bigger than
some are
both
with me.
companies.
But in all seriousness, like,
So
you
that,
know, none of my friends
that's
think I'll be able to hold out, especially given where I work. But that just fuels me. I'm a very stubborn person, so. But regardless of my personal situation, we want to know yours and offer the right thing at the right time. We want T-Mobile customers to feel like they're part of a community. How can we offer unique experiences? I mentioned T-Mobile Tuesdays, which is now part of T-Life.
What is it?
But
You keep
we also
mentioning the words. What is
free
it?
Wi-Fi on certain airlines.
ask,
I've had a few people.
I mentioned T-Mobile Tuesdays and didn't explain it then either.
Again,
And at the end, he
this
says,
is how we are
and of
uncaring.
course, T-Mobile Tuesdays, as I've
This is how
explained,
we
is the
show
most
customer
important
love.
thing we're doing.
It says get free stuff and great deals. T-Mobile.
Now, where are we going?
What? So on Tuesday,
Maybe
what?
mention customer love a few times.
Apparently, you get
Not
great
done.
some special deal.
Continue to talk about it.
We'll give you great stuff.
There's
we
an
want to continue
actual
to scale that.
website, well, page
Continue to
on
find
their
more
site
unique
called
experiences that we can
T-Mobile
offer T-Mobile customers.
Feel the love.
Continue to personalize those experiences.
Download
And we want to do it at scale.
to get
We want to do it omni-channel.
exclusive perks.
All those different touch
I
points.
think
We want all of those
we're
touch
operating as a PSA for this guy.
points AI enabled.
Well,
And we're constantly digital.
I'm just trying to find out what it is.
Well, I'm
Now,
I'm trying to
respect
find out what the hell he's.
capabilities,
I mean, all these things he's saying, but it's no
best
content.
Customer care call is. It's the one that never happens.
Jeff, come
How do
on,
we
man.
anticipate our customers' needs and reach out to them before they reach out to us? Say, for example, you had a bad network experience. How can we detect that? How can we reach out to the customer and acknowledge that experience and contextualize it? Hey, you had a bad network experience. We're actually doing maintenance in that area.
The wave of the future is preventative, Jeff.
By the way,
Keep
here's
in
a
mind,
discount on your next bill.
catch that problem before it happens.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Meaning, hey, we're going to
Have
be
you call
doing
in,
maintenance in your area.
complain, take your treatment,
Perhaps you don't want to
waste
be
your
working
time?
on your network at this moment.
Of course. That's where we want to be. And this is why Pega is so critical
Preventative.
to where we are.
Well, now wait a minute. Now we're
ultimately
getting
where we
to
want
the
to go.
Pega part here.
And that's the magic behind Customer Decision Hub.
Here we
As
go.
we call it inside of T-Mobile, NBA, not the basketball league. Next best
Extra
action.
point without a touchdown.
When I talk about personalization at scale, putting the customers at the heart of everything that we do, or customer love, we do not get there without NBA. What does it do for T-Mobile? What does it do for our customers? It improves the customer journey. It helps us make better, more informed decisions on behalf of our customers. Now, fueled with the right data, NBA understands so much about a customer when they call into our care centers. I'll talk about this channel. It understands their behavior. It understands their profile. Like what products have
I'm
they
sure he's a
purchased
really
from us?
nice
How
guy
many
too,
lines do
but
they have? What devices do they have? It also understands the context of the call. Why might the user be calling in? Maybe they had a bad network experience. It can detect that.
there's only one problem that T-Mobile ever has,
had
apparently.
bill shock.
Bad network
Their
experience.
bill's higher than they thought it was.
Or maybe they had a bad network
Also
experience.
understands the propensity or how the customer
You know
responds
what it is,
to
I
things,
think?
whether that's
Being that-
negatively or positively in the past.
You know, we've seen so
Armed
many
with
of
all of this
these,
data, NBA starts
things,
to go to work.
particularly at
It
PegaWorld.
starts to offer the care agent
You think about the guys
context
that
around that
you don't want.
treatment.
You
And
mentioned
this
when
all
Alan,
happens in less than 200 milliseconds.
there was a little bit more
Incredibly
passion.
fast and
There's a
incredibly
little bit
important.
more
Our customers'
to
time
it.
is valuable.
It's not there's
We
no
don't want them on the phone explaining a million things to
but
us.
compared to
We
like
want to
that,
anticipate.
it does feel a little.
And as I mentioned, we have multiple
kind of
touch
fall
points with our customers.
But it's also to your, I mean,
Important
A,
to have
yes,
NBA
absolutely. And B,
have it,
it's a very generic speech.
and we're going through that journey currently.
I mean, he's talking about things you could
Look for
substitute
companies'
50,000 other organizations
And customers will have a better
with and
experience.
say what he said. Just don't use the
wanna
word
have more real
T-Mobile in it
touch
or
points with our
T-Mobile
frontline
Tuesday,
employees.
and then you're good.
Consumers are dynamic.
It's the
They
same
call in.
speech.
Maybe they're calling in for
Well,
bill
let's
shock,
put it
but
like
they introduce
this.
something else in the call.
I don't
How can we detect
foresee
that? How
at
can we
the
use
end of
data
his
to respond
presentation
and arm our frontline employees
a-
with better,
a-
more informed
a
decisions?
hug with
and treatments
Al.
for that customer.
No, well,
Yeah,
We
again,
also want feedback.
I
those
mean,
were
it's, you know, maybe that's
Super simple. What's
compare.
working?
We
What's
shouldn't
not?
compare,
Data.
but it's kind of hard not
Do
to.
more of what's working.
And
less of
there's
what's not.
absolutely nothing wrong with
Don't
this
do any
presentation.
of
It
what's
just
not.
doesn't give the feeling of some of the ones that we've seen previously.
Data
Oh,
can
I
help us better,
actually honestly
more
think there's
informed
something
decisions.
wrong with it,
They're
meaning
more relevant.
it's way too general.
Again,
And
what about consistency and relevance across digital channels?
I mean, two words he hadn't
Customer
used yet:
shows up to the
consistency and
website.
relevance. There's
They have
not
an
many
iPhone.
buzzwords left
Not showing
for
them
him
Android
to use
accessories.
here. I mean, there's occasional things like, okay, we're using Decision
Now,
Hub, and that's a good thing. But
better
he
personalization
said, you know, but everything's like
customer
either T-Mobile
across all channels.
Tuesday
Again,
or
how
a
we
network
practice
network
customer
problem,
love.
right?
We
So
know you as a
that's
customer.
literally the only thing specific he said, and he never
Now, you don't get
explained
where we're
T-Mobile
at
Tuesday
and where
once.
we want to go without a plan.
Well, I think
Data is
this-
super critical.
just trying to step
Not
back.
just because it's in my title, but it is a little
it's not
self-serving
hard.
to say that. I'll take it.
You know, this
Also,
feels
the
more
systems
like
that can best leverage that data.
doesn't feel like the kind of things that
That's
we're
why
used
Pega is
to
so
in
important.
terms of
No.
customer involvement.
Then you need to integrate it into the tools.
And again,
that give
I'm
employees
sure I would, if I meet
access
this guy in
to
person, I
those
would
decisions
really like him and
when
feel
they need to make
bad
those decisions.
about what I just said.
Critical
But
moments.
chances are I won't. And
And then
secondly,
lastly, probably most importantly, define
it's
your outcomes.
unfortunately true.
What are you trying to achieve?
Or at least what I'm saying, I
And you
think
need to
is
learn
true.
how well you're delivering those outcomes. Measure, improve,
And you know,
change.
it's just I like
Data.
keynotes that
title.
have a little bit more oomph, like more visuals to go along with the work.
So how is this hitting our customers? Are they feeling the customer love?
This is literally the same
Yes.
pictures you see
We know
on
we can improve,
TikTok
and we know we will.
with T-Mobile.
Our experiences will continue to get more personalized.
Those
more
were the
engaging.
totally generic,
As I mentioned in our call centers, that care starts sooner.
what do you call it?
Customers aren't calling
DEI
in
chosen.
and getting a million different questions of what's going on, why are you calling us, who are you? We know all of that. How many times have we called in to a company that we do business with and have a bad customer care experience? Never with T-Mobile. It's always another brand. But you get passed on.
That was supposed to be a joke.
Depending on who you're talking to,
I
you're told
think.
different things. You have to
The
call
way
them
he said it,
time.
though.
It sucks.
Oh, man.
It's not fun. We want our messaging to become more consistent and relevant and omni-channel, and we've rolled.
Jen A, I'll give you one of those answers that goes, I'm sorry, we need to move on to another subject. Yeah, that too.
About proactive care. I mentioned that with the
Poor cameraman
network
tracking
experience.
this guy.
Here's
Well,
another one.
you know, I'm not one to talk.
leave
I do
the
the same
country.
thing. So,
We don't want them to come back.
and I actually move
Say, "Hey, I
faster
used
than
to
he
live in
does.
another country, now I have
Yeah,
no
this
shop."
guy isn't moving all that fast.
Let's notify
No.
them. Hey, see you're out of the country. Add this data plan.
But he is not.
Always international
The
data.
cameraman is tracking every move.
Or go one step further. We
To
have a
his
customer
credit,
that's
he's actually doing a good job of
constantly
tracking him.
out of the country.
Well, this guy has a rhythm.
How do we
to it.
come up with a
There's this
customized, tailor-made plan
Yeah.
for them that accounts for that travel? Again, customer
I
love.
mean, if I wasn't hearing the words and I was watching it at a distance,
Talked a lot about
it
customers.
would look pretty
about
good.
Prospects.
It would look like a
Maybe
probably look like a Brian Solis speech, but it
we
wouldn't
should
be
really love
but the
our
emotion
agents
and the
advising customers.
and the concentrated focus to
communicate
impact
better?
the audience
How do we
specifically
understand their journey as a
wouldn't be there with this guy,
How
where
can
it's
we let them
always there
feel
with Brian.
what our customers feel, even though they're not part of our community yet? Super important.
It just feels like there's a loss of
How's this impacting our
that
business?
last conversation in this.
Well, we've seen a material increase in our first call resolution. I can't
Believe anyone still uses Net Promoter Score.
not to, so I'll just give anecdotes.
It's just astounding to me.
Everything. First call resolution, it's super important. You have to call back multiple times for the same issue.
Would you recommend this company to someone you
Poor
know?
kids have much better things to do. It's also freeing up our customer care agents to handle more customers.
This is like
They're not handling the same issue over and over.
this is going to be
We've
long
seen an increase in our net promoter score.
in terms of
This
what
might
you
be the most important metric.
What time was?
Think about
What time did they list all this going? From 9 till.
I think it's 9 to
This is the
11, but I'm
customer
just
telling
saying
us directly how they think we're doing.
this so far I think has been the longest segment in
We've seen customer churn
kind of
increase.
I mean, that would be the case.
Customer churn might be the most important business metric we have. The name of the game in wireless is growth. How do you grow? Here's a hint. It's not by losing customers, right? Adding customers, net adds every quarter. The street's looking at it. Every time we lose a customer, we have to run twice as hard to replace them and continue to grow. It's so important for our business. And then lastly, we've seen an improvement in our agent performance.
You know, there's just a
This shows that we're getting the
pretty
right tools, the right data, the right information
from
in the
what
hands of our
Alan was
frontline employees at the time they need to make decisions, customer care
to
decisions.
this. It's not that this is anything wrong with
This
it.
has another benefit. Everybody wants to
It's
be
sort of set
successful.
up for something different after
If
Alan's,
anyone in this room is like, hey, do you want to be successful at your job? He's like, nah, I don't really want to.
because Alan's
Everyone
opening was
does.
really good.
Yeah.
I really
And our
enjoyed it.
agents
I
are
love
feeling that. They're more
how they
successful.
transitioned to Matt and Steph, and then
That increases their
conversation
retention.
Steph had with the vet.
Now we have more
Yeah.
experienced employees staying with the company
This
longer.
is a little bit
servicing
out,
our
a little
customers
distant,
better.
I think.
It was kind of got the.
What lessons
It kind of
learned
buzzkillish.
on this journey? There's a few. Data is important. Anybody shocked that I was going to say that? How about bring knowledge in-house? If you're good at something, don't outsource it. Invest in it.
Let's do it. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm getting desperate. Let's do. Let's interrupt with an episode of Stump the Godfather.
No.
That's how desperate I am now.
All right.
Anything.
To wrap up, 3 things to think about. Is anyone shocked that customer love is the first one? If you are, you have not been paying attention.
I'm shocked.
But customer love, I know it's weird. It was super weird for me at first to be like,
Why is that?
customer love. Let's say love in corporate settings. But I promise you, you'll get
You've
used
got
to
to be kidding.
Here I am, standing in front of all of you.
He actually said that like he really, really didn't know there was a difference. That how could you use the word love in a corporate
Maybe your
setting?
customers will love you back.
First of all, they don't actually love you. Not the way you love an individual, just so I can help him with the definitions.
It's how we grow.
Oh my.
It's how we understand what's working, what's not. Let's make that data driven.
I'm not, I'm being quiet. I'm getting too harsh on this guy. I'm
always
sorry if I was too harsh on you, sir.
Just think about it. If T-Mobile in 2012 was like, you know what?
I know he's a nice guy, and that's what's killing me about this, to be honest. It's like
keep doing what we're doing.
Partly starting to tear me up a little bit. I'm like pounding on him.
We wouldn't be telling
And
you a story like this.
he's probably really a nice guy.
And all of these things are related.
I'll take
How do
him
you
out
change?
for, if I was there, I'd
Is that
take him out
improving
for
your customer love?
whiskey.
What are you learning? What are you
Take
changing?
him out to a bar.
Now, there's a panel that T-Mobile's a part of. I believe it's Tuesday at 2, where we're going to talk about getting the most out of every customer interaction. And encourage you to check that out. Going to go a little bit deeper into what I talked about today. It's going to be good stuff.
That's not
I
hard.
want to thank you all for your time and your attention. Enjoy the rest of your week. You guys have been great. Thanks.
Maybe if it had been in a different part of the keynote, I don't know.
Well, maybe it shouldn't have been a keynote.
It just
Make
feels
it
like a loss of energy after.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. Love the customer love and how you are making every conversation more relevant.
So I got to have a bunch of conversations with Jeff over the last couple of days. I got to know him a little bit, heard about his love for vintage pickup trucks, which I completely am with you, brother. Completely with you.
Okay, I don't feel so
When he
bad
was
now.
coming up here, I almost hit him too hard and dislocated his shoulder. So I hope you're all right, dude. It was nothing but love for you. Seriously. All right. Speaking of powerful things.
Who was speaking of powerful things?
Today, if you really think about it, right? We've already had
Maybe he meant. Maybe I'm thinking he meant a vintage pickup truck.
the keynotes. We've heard from Alan Treffler talk about AI transformation. We've heard 2 excellent speakers who are leaders in their field talk about what they do every single day. You know, we've seen your 67-inch heels. Like, seriously, those things are monstrous. I couldn't even walk around on them. We've seen a 27-foot Quaker parrot. Like, I just don't know if it's possible to fit any more awesomeness.
I wouldn't mind seeing more of the parrot.
Do you think of this?
I think that there might be a 90-foot blueprint that might be able to accomplish that.
Oh, I'm intimidated by the blueprint. Okay. So, folks, I think step number 7 is event logistics. And that doesn't sound like fun, right? I hear logistics and I think, oh, I don't want that. But to Steph and I, this is the best part, because this is where we get to be your guides, right? Where you get to get the most out of the program. That fair?
Absolutely. And there's a lot to do before we see everyone back here at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So today,
So it's an hour and a half.
we have the breakout. So they start over in the conference center and run until 4 p.m. So whether you're
Who's the Black Puma? Do you ever hear the Black Pumas?
hear more amazing client
Me
stories,
either.
definitely check those out.
And again, the Innovation Hub opens at 11 a.m. Now, do you folks know how many product demos we have? We have 200 different product demos. I'm going to get you guys to say that at some point or another during this conference. I'm going to get everybody to do it. 200 different product demos over in the Innovation Hub starting at 11 a.m.
That's right. And then head back at 4 to the Innovation Hub for more
Bye,
demos,
Alan.
great networking during our cocktail reception from 4
See you
to 6.
later.
Then at 7 o'clock, come back here.
That's our
grab
good
some
friend
dinner,
and analyst,
that
Alan.
amazing concert
Kurtzman.
from the Grammy-nominated Black Pumas.
But before we go
Grammy
into
nominated.
public service announcement for you. So you folks thought this big, beautiful man walked out on this stage with this badge on accident, right? I know you did. I see Giles. I see you right there. You thought I did. But this is actually on purpose, because know this, no matter where you go in this event, whether it's breakfast, dinner, lunch, the breakouts, the innovation hub, you're going to need this to get in. So make sure you bring it with you. It's your ticket to the
The two of
entire-
them have good personalities, though. I
But
like
before
that.
we experience
yeah, they
all
do.
of that,
I
we have
like that.
one more incredible keynote. So Alan mentioned great technologies like Blueprint and Socrates and Knowledge Buddy. And who better to talk about how to utilize that in Pega Infinity 24 than one of my favorite people and our very own Chief Product Officer, Karim Akinol.
Of course. One of my favorite Pega people.
Yep.
Ooh, you got it. All right.
We had him on the show once,
Thank
right?
you. Good morning, everyone.
I don't think
My
he's
name
ever
is
been on
Karim
the show.
Akinol.
No,
I am
it's
responsible for
AFGN.
product here at
You had him,
Pegasystems,
right?
And I am
think so.
incredibly excited to be here.
Oh,
with
well,
you
we need
today.
to get him on.
Actually, I've been really excited about
Yeah,
being
he's-
here doing the presentation for you.
I've had
since we
fried
had
chicken
PegaWorld
in
on this
Atlanta with
stage
them, but not
last
on.
year. And this whole time, I've been trying to think about how to make my presentation so it's informative. I want to see if I can, infuse some fun into it. And I've been trying to figure out how do I make it memorable. So this last couple of months, I've been going through and watching some great keynotes for the past years, looking for inspiration. And I find myself going back to the same one over and over again. It's a presentation, I think, from like 20 years ago, delivered by Microsoft's Steve Ballmer. I think they were launching .NET.
Oh my God! If he's
And
gonna
during that presentation,
developers-
he asks a question to his audience. He says, what is the key to digital transformation? And some of you will remember it. He immediately answers the question himself.
Man,
He
no
says
shock.
it is developers,
Oh,
developers,
God, please play it.
developers, developers.
I thought he was
Straight to the point, people remember it years, decades later. So I've been wondering, if he was doing a keynote today, what would he say is the key to digital transformation? If I was doing a keynote today, what would I say?
You
Oh,
are.
wait, I am doing a keynote today.
Yeah, there's the joke.
A lot of you know what I'm going to say. That the key to digital transformation is Gen AI, Gen AI, Gen AI, Gen AI. And you're going to hear a lot about this throughout this conference. And the reason why I've been so excited about doing this presentation
He should have
is
jumped
because
around though.
since last year is because
You know, I once did a speech with
we announced
Microsoft
the availability of a
at
brand
a
new
local event here, and there were only two speakers, and me and Steve Ballmer,
that is built
and I had to
directly
follow
on the
him.
cloud architecture.
Wow.
And
Yeah, I made lots
our
of comments on that
product
before I
was
started my
offered.
speech.
And we built this
Thing.
basically with access to Azure's
It
open
was,
API.
I
for
told
large
they
language
didn't have
models.
quite the
The architecture is built in a flexible way.
didn't have
And
quite
just
the
this
fee I
morning,
normally
we
charge, so I
announced
said I'll
the
make you a deal.
availability of our
Introduce,
GenAI
give me
with large
30
language
minutes with
models
Steve
from
Ballmer
Amazon
afterwards,
as well as Google.
and we'll do it. And they said okay. I sat with him for about 30 minutes.
And
I won't
since
comment
that
on it.
release of
Okay.
Pega Infinity 23, GenAI has become a standard part of everything we're doing.
I'll put
in
it this
our product.
way.
Because
Very
we know
happy
that
that Satya
AI
is
is
CEO of
so much
Microsoft.
more than
That's
just
the best way to put
summarizing
it.
texts
That's the
or
nicest way I
writing,
could possibly put that
rap
conversation.
songs, or maybe even helping you do your kids' homework.
Is that why you
That
hate the?
Gen AI is actually a real revolution in technology. And its impact will be even
See, now look
greater
at-
than that of the internet. And we all know that the internet was a major
They-
revolution in technology.
Rap?
Internet moved us in to the
You should,
age
if
of
you'd seen the middle one, it said rap
Internet
song
was
about
great.
digital
It
transformation.
moved us
Let's
all.
just say
Completely
wasn't.
changed the way we do business. It truly transformed the way we live our lives. And that age of information was all about the creation
one
and
thing that's
collection
different-
of tremendous amounts of,
The guy with T-Mobile
I
and
guess, information.
there's some actual emotion in
During this
personality.
last years and
Yeah.
decades,
It just makes it so
all
much
of our
more
organizations
wanting to watch.
amassed
it's the thing with him
millions and
always. So he's,
millions of
you can
documents.
tell he really loves doing this
So
stuff.
many documents everywhere.
Yeah.
So much information
Oh.
that once someone needs to
He's also
figure
really
out how
good
to
at
do
it.
something in their job, when they need to figure out an answer to their question,
He's engaged.
it's actually
Oh,
easier
the other
to
guy.
find someone in the company who knows someone else who probably has a cousin that works upstairs that might know the answer to your question than look for the right documentation. Imagine being new at a company with so much documents and so much knowledge scattered all over the place. What would it take to be good at your job? What would it take to be great? You know who was really great at the job? Alexander the Great. Well, Alexander the Great wasn't that great when he first started. He was just a 13-year-old boy. You know, his parents called him Alex. You know, his friends around the castle called him Al. But Al was much luckier than all the other kids in the kingdom. You see, when Al turned 13, his parents hired Aristotle to be his personal tutor. That's not fair. So whenever Al had any question about how the world worked, or how to go and expand his empire, he could just turn over to Aristotle, and he got a pretty decent answer back. He didn't have to run around the castle looking for answers to his questions, and that surely gave him a leg up in being great. But now,
That's funny.
I do realize that you don't have really the flexibility to hire someone like Aristotle to sit next to every single employee waiting to answer their random questions about how to do their job. But you can still make sure that every single one of your employees have the answers to all of their questions at their fingertips at all times with the Pega Gen AI Knowledge Buddy. Alan mentioned the Knowledge Buddy earlier on. Knowledge Buddy is great. It is super simple. It is very practical. Essentially, it's accessible from any app, any environment the employees are using. And the way the employees interact with it is the same way you would ask a colleague a question about how to do something. You can just ask it to the Knowledge Buddy, and it will immediately give you the answer, and it will give you a reference to the document, to the content where the information comes from. And the way it works is you basically point Knowledge Buddy to all your documents and knowledge repositories. It takes all of that context and content and indexes it into a vector database. And then from wherever the employees are working, they can just ask the questions and get the answers back immediately. So gone the days of new employees or even seasoned ones not having immediate access to up-to-date information around how to do their job. So I want to take 2 minutes and actually show you how the Knowledge Buddy works in the context of a contact center agent. So meet my cousin Tony. Tony's great. Tony is a customer service agent at an insurance call center. And luckily, they use Pega Customer Service on Pega Cloud. So on the agent desktop, Tony has access to all the different tools to make him very effective when he engages with his customers. So I was talking to Tony the other day, and he tells me this story about where he got a call from a panicked customer a couple of weeks ago. And the customer wanted to know if the damages to the upholstery of his beautiful classic car by a tiger was actually covered by his policy. So, Tony's been doing this for like 10
Tony
years.
the tiger?
And he's never heard this question before. And normally what he would do is he would put the customer on hold, go ask around, look for some documentation, find the supervisor. But, he doesn't need to anymore because he's got Knowledge Buddy built directly into his agent desktop. So he asks the question directly into the Knowledge Buddy, and boom, he gets the response back immediately. That the damages are covered, no problem, as long as the tiger is actually owned by the policyholder and not some random
Look at that picture. That is cool.
Just like that, Tony saved time, provide an accurate customer interaction, and really this made Tony great at his job.
Wow.
But see, that's what was missing the last.
So that's basically how Knowledge Buddy works. Just gives you the answers at your fingertips. Now I want to quickly shift over to another Gen AI capability.
I feel like I'm being
for the customer service, and this one is called the Gen AI Agent Trainer. Now look, Tony's been on the job for 10 years, but there's a lot of turnover in the contact center. So they're always hiring new agents. So right here, we meet Heather. She's a brand new agent. As a new contact center agent, she needs to learn how to take calls from customers and be able to process their requests. And traditionally, training a new agent is a labor-intensive and time-consuming process. You have to read lots of documentation, watch videos. Sometimes they have to plug in with other agents and listen to customer calls and see how they're processed. But the CS, the customer service agent trainer, changes all of that. So what it does is it creates a collection of virtual customers to call directly into Heather's phone set. And these virtual customers make service requests the way a real customer would.
Socratic dialogue.
And it creates different personas of
You
customers.
learn by the
Customers that are
question.
calling in, or customers who've been around for a long time. It creates happy customers that are calling in and ready to talk, or it creates angry customers who just want to get things done quickly. And Heather just processes these requests just as she would with a real customer. And at the end, the CS agent trainer gives actually coaching recommendations and basically tells Heather where she's doing great and what are some areas that she has to actually improve on. So this saves time, this makes things much more efficient, and I want to actually quickly show you a 1-minute video to see how that works.
Thank you for calling U Plus Bank. My name is Heather. How can I help you today?
Hi, Heather. I'm calling because I am moving to Las Vegas, and I wanted to change my address on my account.
Wonderful. I can definitely help you with that. I hear great things about Las Vegas.
Yes, I can't wait. I went with some friends and had such a great time.
That's great. May I please have
Must
the
be
new
a different
address?
Las Vegas.
My new address will be 118 Wolfpack Lane, Las Vegas, Nevada.
And what is the
Wow.
zip code?
The zip code is 89016.
It's pretty good.
Thank you. I have made that change. Should I update the addresses of your other accounts you own?
No thanks. I only need to update my main account for now.
Okay, great. I have made the changes.
This is kind of similar to what Stephanie Boyer does with her sales training stuff.
All right. So that was pretty quick.
But I don't know that she has Gen AI baked into it, but very similar with the actual conversational voices and the whole thing.
And I don't know, I thought she did pretty well. But the agent trainer did find a couple of improvement suggestions. And the way this will work is the agent trainer will continuously make calls into Heather, and then she will become ready to take calls from real customers much, much faster. It would be much more cost efficient to get her up to speed. And it's kind of a little bit more fun for the agent, instead of basically reading lots of documents, to be able to get trained this way. So it's a big win for the contact center. And throughout this week, throughout this conference, you will see a tremendous number of Gen AI-driven capabilities as a part of the latest version of Pega Customer Service. And they'll be demonstrated to you, and you'll love them. I think you'll love them. And all of this, really, all of these Gen AI capabilities are possible because that service, that Gen AI microservice, is just baked directly into the core architecture of the Pega platform that gives us a tremendous amount of flexibility.
That's another one of their strengths, which is the platform is really
Pega
solid.
Customer Decision Hub. So here, meet Stephanie. Well, you already met Stephanie, Steph. And by the way, Steph and Matt are doing an amazing job hosting this conference. So love it.
Look at him.
But when Steph is not busy hosting PegaWorld, she's actually responsible for growing customer revenues and loyalty for a large hotel chain. And she's very busy. She's working all the time. And not surprisingly, she's a very successful digital marketer. And she's using Pega Customer Decision
What a
Hub
name.
to deliver
Brutus's Castle.
AI-driven, hyper-personalized offers for each and every guest.
That's like a
on
scary
either the
place to
website
go.
or the mobile app
Brutus's
in real
Castle.
time.
Hi, come here and we'll beat the crap out of you.
What's great is, regardless of what job she's doing, she's always looking for ways to optimize the offer that she's delivering to her guests. Luckily, She has that
The
latest version of
luxury
Customer
there is
Decision
we'll
Hub
beat the crap out of
running
you
on
with
Pega Cloud
gloves on.
with some brand new Gen AI
By the way, I
capabilities.
did see Tara Dizal earlier today.
Oh,
Meet
yeah.
CDH Assistant,
I assume she's, of
powered by
course,
Gen AI.
wonderful as always.
Yes.
What makes this new capability awesome is
She is just one of the
Stephanie
best.
can just directly talk to her Customer Decision Hub application. She can ask questions around what's working and what's not working. How are the statistical models performing? Where are opportunities to optimize? She can actually have a direct conversation with CDH Assistant, and this makes it easy to understand which offers are working, which ones are not. And in this case, Steph wants to know which customers segments are interacting the least with the offers that are presented to them. And she types it in, she clicks next, and CDH Assistant immediately gives her a response back. And it says, well, the offers that are being presented to millennials on vacation or the retired couples are working great. They're basically operating at the levels that we expect. But the offers that are being presented to expo attendees or business travelers, people that are here for IT conferences.
That's actually probably a legitimate stat, you know.
And here CDH Assistant directs her
different level of
yet
attention to the
another
place
Gen
you're
AI-based
staying.
new capability in CDH
Millennials on
called
vacation,
intelligence
couples are staying at the hotel because they want to stay at that
This is a
hotel.
capability in
The other ones
CDH
are
that
staying
allows
out of
retail
convenience.
leaders to fine-tune the treatments that are
actually pretty
presented
good.
with the offers. You see, the way it works is CDH uses statistical models to determine what offers are presented to customers and guests. And then it provides different treatments for each one of those offers based on different segments. And the treatments are essentially the words and the images that marketers use to present the offers. And one of the greatest capabilities of intelligent treatments is it uses Gen AI to apply some standard marketing principles to generate treatments that are optimized for specific customer segments. And Steph can choose which ones she believes make sense for these segments. And in this case, she's going to roll out these new treatments that are targeting business travelers. And only Customer Decision Hub in this space combines the power of both statistical AI and generative AI to deliver great offers. And that's probably one of the reasons why Customer Decision Hub has been ranked year after year as the best, as the #1 real-time interaction management offering on Earth. And again, throughout the next couple of days, you'll get to go through the Innovation Hub and see all of these things, these capabilities yourself. You'll see the impact of Gen AI to the digital marketers. You've already seen the impact of Gen AI to customer service agents. But this is just the beginning. Because, wait, what is the key to digital transformation? Gen AI, Gen AI, Gen AI, Gen AI. And unfortunately, in our software industry, there is a tremendous amount of effort and movement to use Gen AI to help developers write more code, right? They want to have more code, more lines of code. And this is one area that we completely disagree. Most of the organizations that we have the privilege to work with are not really looking to layer their existing 2,000 legacy applications with another 1,000,000 lines of code on top. In our definition, really, digital transformation means getting to a world where there's less code and more modernization. It means going from hundreds and thousands of old, outdated applications to fewer modern applications that are built cloud native, that are model driven, that are built quickly and can be changed easily with AI that's built into them. And we believe that the way to be great at replacing old legacy applications with modern solutions is using Pega Gen AI Blueprint.
This is
by this point, I hope you know that we're quite excited about Pega Gen AI Blueprint. And Blueprint is great. Blueprint is as easy to use as an airport kiosk, but it's as powerful as weeks-long intense requirement gathering sessions. And we're gonna have some Blueprint kiosks throughout this conference. And what the job of Blueprint is to capture your vision for how you want your business applications to work. Really, it's no different than instead of building an application, if you're building a house, the same conditions exist, right? If you bought a plot of land, and if you're gonna build your dream house, you're not gonna have the construction people come in on day one and start pouring in concrete. You're gonna actually sit down with a subject matter expert like an architect, and you're gonna capture your vision for your dream home in a blueprint. You're gonna decide how your home is going to look. You're gonna decide how many bedrooms and how many bathrooms and the garage and everything else. You're gonna capture your dream into a blueprint. And once you're happy with your blueprint, then you're gonna give it to the construction people, and they're just gonna come and build it. And you're not gonna hopefully face any surprises, right? The construction people halfway through pouring in concrete, they're not gonna come and ask you how many bedrooms you need. The blueprint is going to capture that vision. And I believe that the same actually applies to building enterprise applications. You capture your vision for a dream business application, how it should work today, and then you give it to the developers to actually construct it. And we have lots of new capabilities that we've been building into our blueprint that we'll have a chance to reveal during this conference. And I know we're putting a lot of emphasis. I'm kind of curious, how many of you actually have tried, put your hand up, if you actually tried or seen Blueprint be used? Keep your hands up. Now, put your other hand up if you promise me that you're going to go and try it yourself today during this conference. Okay, I need more promises. We're going to wait here. All right, now, if you want to see the latest, just raise the roof. If you want to see the latest capabilities, all right, come on over. Let's just check it out what the next generation of Blueprint looks like. So I want to basically, you can see it, right? I want to show you some of the new capabilities that's coming as a part of Blueprint. First of all, we completely changed the design and the experience to make it easier. So it's just, in this case, we have these kiosks because it's so easy that it's just a touch screen. It starts with basically understanding what industry that you want to go into. So we like banking, we'll pop into banking. And it always gives me some feedback as to what I'm building. It asks me for a sub-industry. I'm going to go into retail banking.
I'm sitting there leaning in, trying to see things, and I realized I could just expand my screen.
Retail banking application. And then it asks me the application purpose. And this is very similar with all sorts of different Gen AI tools, right? What is the purpose? What is really the prompt? And here I'm going to select retail loan origination. I can type in any use case that I want, any industry, any area. And then when I click next, here's where we're using the power of Pega's knowledge and Gen AI to actually make a recommendation for the blueprint of an application. So now you're seeing a couple of new things here. Blueprint is first recommending that for this retail loan origination, we're going to have 3 different workflows. Now, one new thing that's coming is you can actually import, if you have already a BPMN diagram that defines the end-to-end process of this workflow, you can directly import into Blueprint and will generate based on that. And also, it's starting to give you some recommendations on the right, some visible as to the experience on the right. It gives you, on the next step, it gives you the overall life cycle, the end-to-end life cycle of each one of the workflows. So you can actually see, you can navigate here, if I can select clearly. All right, doing it sideways. And Gen AI is going to, in Blueprint, is going to make you recommendations of best practices.
Look at that.
You get to go in.
The other thing that's nice about the Blueprint, and I didn't really see that much evidence of it because I only played with it a little, but you see it here is that the actual UI is actually nice. It's actually very easy to read. It's clear. It's got.
And then as I define the data, it's giving me a clue
navigate
as to what this application is going to look like. So this new generation of Gen AI Blueprint is not only figuring out the workflows and the integrations in the data model, but it's also using Gen AI to figure out the overall user experience of the application that's going to be created once this blueprint is built out. And Alan talked about our center out approach, right? We truly believe on center out. So when you're building out your application blueprint, you can actually see immediately within like 30 seconds what this application will actually look like for your employees on a desktop, You can see what it will look like when they're on a mobile device. You can see what it will look like if you extend that workflow to a self-service channel. You can see what it looks like. Let's say you want Tony to be able to take calls about this loan origination. You can see what it looks like on the contact center. And if you're going to engage with this application, this workflow programmatically, it will even show you the swagger for the DX APIs of what it will generate and how you would actually programmatically call this application. All of this in a couple of seconds using the power of Pega's knowledge as well as Gen AI. One more thing that I want to basically.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that makes that's the way you demo something.
Well, I love it.
It doesn't have to be over the top.
One more thing that's basically coming is when we're talking about defining the integration, how basically data becomes a part of the application, is you can now import Swagger definitions of existing applications to get that connectivity in place. All of it directly in the blueprint, all of it through essentially a touchscreen experience. You don't need to have your own environment. You don't have to be on the latest version. You don't have to have Gen AI connectivity. You don't have to be anything other than being able to just click through and actually have a vision of how you want your applications to work. And this works for any industry. It works for any use case. I'm going to pop back. And of course, we have a lot of experience, and I've worked a lot with banking. I'm going to pop into an industry that I'm not familiar with. And I know we have lots of guests here from the energy industry. So I hope this works out right. We're going to pop into oil and gas. Let's go to drilling and well management. Who knows how to build applications in drilling and well management? And here, Blueprint is going to give me a recommendation for lots of different apps that I can build in this space. We can do directional drilling, drilling equipment management. We can do mud management. You're building an old oil field, there's mud.
Mud management.
Somebody has to manage the mud, and you need to keep track of it. So let's see what Gen AI Blueprints will tell us would be the standard blueprint for a mud management application. Okay, it comes back. It suggests that there's mud mixing, mud circulation, of course, mud conditioning. You have to condition twice. And mud. We're not going to do mud monitoring. So I'm going to actually delete this here, and it will immediately, if I tap in correctly, it will immediately drop it off from the recommendation. It will give me the workflows. It will give me the data structures. It will build the entire end-to-end blueprint for how to do mud management. And of course, it will give me the whole UI. Oh, by the way, I can actually click around on this UI and see the end user's experience directly in this UI that is generated by Gen AI as well, which I think is pretty cool. And I know that we have lots of international organizations. People use Pega Infinity across the globe. And what we wanted to make sure is that these applications are available across geographies, across industries. So I'm going to go into this mud management, and I'm going to change this to, let's go Japanese. And we have lots of friends here from Japan, so this one is for you. So I hope it will show us the right stuff. And we'll get to generate this application in any language. We will get to experience the UX of this in any language, and we love it. We think this is awesome. There's nothing like this in the industry, and Gen AI Blueprint is just getting more and more powerful.
Actually, there is nothing like this.
So
that's
you're
not
going to
exaggerated.
get to try this for yourself. You're going to actually participate. When you go to the Innovation Hub, there'll be a bunch of these kiosks that are going to be set up. And it's all there for you with all the product team around it for you to actually try it with your own use cases and be able to understand the power of it. And another really cool thing that you're going to see when you get to the Innovation Hub is that there's the preview of a blueprint that is being built out for Customer Decision Hub. And what we need you to go see it, understand it, and give us your feedback. And we love the idea that Blueprint is a SaaS app on Pega.com. So we can evolve it with new capabilities every week. And since we launched it these several weeks ago, we've gotten so much engagement with it. This is basically the fastest of any product offering, any solution, any capability that we've ever had that has seen this level of adoption. And we're hoping that you're going to make this a part of your real digital transformation journey. And don't forget, once you actually capture a blueprint, when you actually have a blueprint that defines your workflows and your processes and your data and your UI the way you would like to see it, you are literally 2 clicks and 2 minutes away from having your blueprint vision become a real enterprise-grade application on Pega Infinity. And again, we think this is really exciting. Alan talked about doubling developer productivity. This is definitely going to help out with that initiative. It is incredible to see the support and an engagement from our partner organization, where we're coming together and building blueprints, templates in industries that they have expertise in. And like I said, you're going to go to the Innovation Hub. You're going to basically try the latest designs for yourself. But it's not just blueprint. Throughout the conference, you will see practical implementations of Gen AI everywhere. We believe Gen AI is a real revolution in technology, and that Gen AI will move us out of the age of information into a world where employees have answers to their questions at their fingertips. A world where marketers can precisely target their customers with the right offers. A world where you can actually design an enterprise-grade application literally in seconds. Gen AI will move us out of age of information and directly into age of transformation. And Pega will be there with you every single step of the way. And all of that starts right now. Have a great PegaWorld. Thank you so much for your attention, and thank you.
That was excellent.
Yeah, but
That really, really, really good.
they ended it on the right note.
You're welcome.
They ended it
Perfectly.
definitely on the right. All right. So, get some initial thoughts.
Yeah, actually, if I'm looking at, I mean, I thought other than the one speech, actually, everything was really very nicely done. When I'm looking at the theme of Pega moving forward, the funny thing about it is it's a continuation of the moving forward they've always done. They're always, to me, interesting because they're kind of a combination of vision, consistency, and practicality in one package, you know, and there's not, most companies, let's say this, they fairly unevenly distribute those 3 things. But what Pega does is that they maintain them at in a way that actually integrates really well and works, and it continues kind of this evolutionary step. The other thing that was very exciting about it too was that the 3 things they did talk to, Knowledge Buddy, Socrates, and Blueprint, are actually amazing. You know, we've seen a lot about no code, low code. Blueprint's no code, right? And even though I didn't say that word once, right? But at the same time, the thing I really, really, really appreciate about all the products is the way it actually puts things in the hands of people with some knowledge, but at the same time gives them the tools they need to build. Ultimately, it's on the Pega platform, so obviously limitations. But like, for example, Socrates is using Socratic method to train and educate on the service side, right? Blueprint is saying, look, there are now use cases for AI and Gen AI. Build your own, right? You can build your own right here. If you don't have any that you know of, test it here, present it. Let's see what happens. You know, I mean, and actually, if it's a viable use case, it will build something of value for you. So I like this direction a lot. Again, you know, I don't know what that means for the company going forward on the marketing and all the other things they have to do thought leadership side, but they were, and I guess the last thing I'll say is that they retain that the visionary aspect of this thing too. Is, ultimately, even though they didn't overemphasize it, they were talking to the autonomous world, upcoming. But the thing that's where I go into consistency, practicality, and vision. It's probably represented right with that one word, because they've been talking about it for 6-7 years when Jeff Nicholson began speaking to it back on autonomous service years ago at Pega. And secondly, they've been consistent in that theme. And thirdly, they're developing the actual use cases that will lead to autonomy. I don't want to say there are use cases for autonomy. They're not quite there yet, but use cases that can lead toward autonomous, working environment. So I was really very impressed. Are there downsides? Well, as always, the interesting thing is what happens after the conference, right? And what are they going to do on the outreach and the marketing and all the other things they need to do to engage? Because what they don't hold is they don't hold the forceful position of, let's say, Salesforce or Zoho or Microsoft, or they don't have that level of external power, and they need to make this a reality that's let's say a dominant reality, which wouldn't be a bad one at all. They're going to need to do a lot and in areas that they don't typically invest a ton in. So that's my only qualification, because what I saw here today I was very impressed with. So what about you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I once again, I like the fact that they weren't just talking about Gen AI as kind of a general overarching thing. They actually talked about it in the context of the things that they've always been talking about, which, the layer cake approach, the whole, idea of the inside or middle out. It's like they use Gen AI almost as a way to validate what they're doing, and then to leverage the power of Gen AI to extend the things that they've already been doing. And they don't want to be viewed as a generalist in Gen AI. They actually want to be viewed as, we're using Gen AI and the things that are important to our platform and to our customers, to build better workflows, to build better processes. We don't look at Gen AI as something as a standalone to other Gen AI. You look at them all and then figure out the best way to utilize them in the best stages. So I think they talk about AI in a 3 kind of categories of AI. It's decisioning, productivity, and this AI transformation thing. I think it makes a lot of sense, and it makes it easy to comprehend. And then when you have the Socrates and the blueprint, and you're able to walk through them as kind of seamlessly as Karam did, you do think they have an opportunity to do something that goes beyond, the traditional pathways of getting to the next level. So yeah, I thought this was great. Once again, the customer story, the first one, that was really good. There was an emotional component to that thing right from the beginning, and then the conversation flowed from that. Like I said, I'm not going to say misstep, but the only part where the keynote lost some energy, lost some verve, so to speak, it was unfortunately with T-Mobile. I'm not going to blame it all on him, but he didn't. He was a kind of the odd thing out of the presentation of the keynote.
Well, let's say this: somebody in T-Mobile's marketing department and PR group approved that speech. So, and he gave a speech. He gave the speech he's supposed to give.
It was a speech. there's a difference between what Alan did and what Karam did and what I think his name was Jeff. What Jeff did.
Yeah.
And you know, these things kind of happen, but that's the only kind of sour note in this whole thing. Everything else is really good.
Yeah, I guess the only thing on a technical standpoint, the only I'll call it sour note was I don't think the mic placement was great for the crowd. It wasn't bad; you could hear it, but it could have been a lot better in terms of like unless the crowd was really generating like loud, you didn't really hear anything at all. It was dead silent. That may have been deliberate because they wanted to minimize crowd noise, but it lost a little bit of the this isn't an empty room thing. When in the beginning I thought it was an empty room for a second, right? Because you heard nothing, right? And I would have probably, again, the AV guys know better than me, and there was probably a plan of some kind, but I probably would have placed the mics for the crowd a little differently, or at least I would have brought in a tiny, like, you know how when you and I are doing something, you always mention how you like to have some of the background movement and a little bit of buzz, not a ton. You always like that because it, you know, creates a bit of energy. They didn't have that unless the crowd was generating loudness.
Well, but they weren't generating loudness unless there's something there that they liked.
Oh no, that's fine. I'm not opposing what they did. I just don't think they placed the mics all that well in the crowd.
No, I mean, you could hear the engagement with Karam,
right,
and with Alan, and even with the conversation with Steph and the lady from the VA.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no way of getting around it. His came across as like you said, a presentation where the other ones came across a little bit. There's a little bit more to it than just
right. Well, his was like a presentation approved by marketing, PR, and legal. Right, that was what it came across as, and it kept the tone. It kept things general enough to keep them out of trouble. Right, it was kind of like that kind of presentation, and he gave it, and that was that.
Yeah, so, I mean, all in all, though, I mean, it was very well done.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely agree.
I like how Alan set the table, and I like the conversation, and I like the way that Karam closed. I mean, it was really good.
Yeah, Karam was really, he was just on it, man. He was going.
I love how he can weave in a little lightheartedness, a little comedy.
Yeah.
What he's doing. I mean, the whole setup with calling Alexander the Great
Al, Alex and Al.
Yeah,
that was really good.
I would have played that clip of Ballmer going crazy. That would have been fun.
Yeah, me too. I tell you though, that's frightening to see.
Yeah, well, especially all the sweat stains. But
yeah,
I couldn't imagine. Kareem is too cool a guy to, go on stage sweating profusely.
Yeah, well, Ballmer isn't. Or wasn't.
He's just
again off air. I'll tell you someday about my my conversation with him for 30 minutes.
Yeesh.
Yeesh is right. That's all I can say. Yeesh.
Yeah. All right. So we got one down. I think for me, the rest of the day is a few good minute eps from one of them being with our mutual buddy, Don Sherman. I think another one is actually with Peter Vanderputten.
Yeah, it is. The AI guy there. Yeah.
I'm surprised they even said his name right. That was
got it perfectly. Right. PVK. PVP, actually.
Yeah,
it's PVP.
Yeah.
Just call him that.
Call
him PVP.
I'll just leave it at PV. And then,
that's right. Well, it's called PVP. He'll never get the joke, though.
He'll be PV1 and PVK is PV1.
Right.
PVP is PV2.
PV2.
Anyway. Yeah, I'm looking forward to those. Unfortunately, you won't be there, but
yeah,
we'll carry on and all that stuff.
Well, give hugs to all the people I would ordinarily give a hug to.
I don't know if I'll have enough time to do that. There's a lot of people there. But yes, there is another keynote tomorrow, and Don is in that. But I don't know if we'll have time to do a watch party for that. But we always love Don.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can just. How long is that one?
We'll have to look into it.
All right. Let me know. You let me know. I'm here, so I'm probably available.
All righty. So in the meantime, I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Playaz, and one of us is still in Vegas.
And I'm glad it's not me.
See you later.